Yo, it's your boy Obelie, and today we're just be doing yet another My Hero What If. This is What If Deku was Deadpool. This would all start off with Deku pretty much being told by the Quirk Doctor that he would have no quirk. Deku being distraught about this, wanting to become a hero, but he can't do that because he has no quirk. Deku, with this news, he would go home sad. And as his father being a scientist, he would want to make his kid happy. So for years on end, for 6 years straight, he pretty much made this machine. And on Deku's birthday, he would tell him, I have a way to give you a quirk. And Deku would say, like, when can we get it? And Deku's dad would be like, yeah, tomorrow. So when Deku woke up the next day, he was excited to get his new quirk. And as he's talking to his dad, he says, like, where are we going? And all his dad says, with just a look of just some type of look that don't look good. So he's pretty much like, I'm sorry, but if you really want a quirk, this is how it's gonna be. And Deku's like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So yeah. So when they actually get to this place, this whole new laboratory, and Deku pretty much gets drowned and pretty much gets tortured. Which, I'm gonna skip over that, cause, yeah. I'm not trying to have this video deleted off of YouTube because I said 10-year-olds were getting tortured, so yeah. So, as Deku is pretty much being quote-unquote trained. Quote-unquote trained by, his father, which is the scientist. He would eventually, grow extraordinary powers. And Deku would basically be dying, and he would start hearing, a voice. And the voice seemed to be as in just as much as pain as he was. And he's like, what is that voice? And as he is pretty much like wondering where is that coming from, the voice says, I'm all in your head. And there's another one. This is Red Box and Yellow Box. If you read the Deadpool comics, you would know Yellow Box and Red Box is basically two different personalities in Deadpool's head, but in this case it's Deku's head. So as he's pretty much speaking through the mind between Red Box and Yellow Box, and basically he gets done with his quote-unquote training. It was about a week, so Deku took a whole week doing that shit. And Deku, I don't want to make Deku get that disformation on his face. I'm not trying to have that, bro. I mean, like, come on. So, since the scientist is technically doing this illegally, the scientist would know that he would probably be going to jail if Inko find out. So, he would leave him a couple of things, like his katanas, the two ones that you see in the picture, and he would leave him a special one, but he can't use it unless he has to use one of his abilities. And he would leave him a knife and a gun, 2 guns, but he's only using one in this picture. And he would leave him the Deadpool costume. Now, this is pretty much his costume. I like it. I had to pick this picture. So yeah. So Deku is pretty much like, oh, so this is what he left me, and no, when Inko found out, no, affirmative, he went to jail. He went to jail for experimenting on minors, experimenting illegally. You can't get away with that. So he pretty much goes to jail for it. You know, whoop-de-doo, bad luck. So Deku doesn't really train because during like this torture, he's kind of being fully like it's almost like he's fully trained, like in the army or something, bro. Like he's crazy. So there is like this little training compound, like in the science laboratory where his dad was, and he would go there, and it would basically be these robots, and they would have these guns, and they would be shooting it, or just one robot shooting the gun, and Deku would basically have to slice the bullets while the robot is shooting at him, and he can do it, but yeah, he pretty much doing that, and that's some of his training, and he even uses his katanas more, in his guns and his knife, and if you don't know, the sword that Deku cannot really use on regular people, because the sword is basically the sword that can kill him. Like that's the sword that he pretty much killed Wolverine with, and when he was trying to kill the whole world. Like it was pretty much Deadpool kills the universe, basically. Like he killed the creators of Marvel, that's kind of weird, bro. That's kind of weird. So as Deku is pretty much doing this, he is pretty much using his sword, and bro, they slicing like butter, bro. It's too easy, bro. So Deku has like this one ability that I'm just gonna give him, and it's called I guess I can just give him super learning, even though it's not even a thing. Super learning. He's gonna be able to learn things like a million times faster. If he sees it once, he'll be able to easily perfect it. Like he has the shotgun or something. And like if you ever actually read the Deadpool comics, you know how he fought Taskmaster, or Taskmaster tried to fight him, because he was winning indefinitely. So Deadpool was pretty much chilling, and like nobody in the class could actually touch Deadpool. Like they couldn't actually touch him in a fight. Like it's literally impossible. Like if he's unpredictable to the person who predicts the future, how is anybody who with just regular quirks gonna predict what he's doing and where he's going? Literally, this man is not sane. He doesn't even have a brain at this point. Like, I don't know how you can even try to catch him slipping. So, Deku is pretty much, training for, that's his training for the 10 months of training. Yeah. So he doesn't actually meet All Might. And, here comes the day of the UA entrance exam. He would go to the UA entrance exam, and yeah, he would be going there, he would be walking, and he says, since Deadpool can't break the fourth wall, he knows he's in an anime. So he knows he has extra thick plot armor. So Deku pretty much says, as he's falling in his head, he says, okay, someone's gonna help me out. And Uraraka would basically pretty much use her quirk on him, and they would have that little conversation. So yeah, and I'll say I don't want Bakugo to know Deku. I don't want Deku and Bakugo to know each other. So yeah. So he talks to Uraraka. That's what he does, and he's going into the written exam. So as he's doing the written exam, he pretty much does the same score I'm giving him. So Deku would do the same score, and add the explanation for for the fucking robots. When he hears robots, he just walks out the room. Gets in his costume, and when everybody comes, he's in this costume at this point. He got the knife, the gun, the swords, bro. He looking like a real G, bro. So right, no, since Deadpool don't follow the rules, my man's I don't even know. But I just feel like Deadpool would be able to do some shit that defies logic. So we feel like he would just be walking on walls, man. He would run on it. He wouldn't just be regular walking, because that's kind of impossible. but since he can run fast, he'll be able to run up the wall. He thinking he Kirito or something. So Deku would run up the wall before the gate opens, and he would get an extra thick 40 points. He would get a couple of more robots. He would eventually gain 20 plus points. So now he's at 60. So Deku would hear a scream, and he would look behind him with his swords, and he says, "Zero pointer, bet." And as he's running off the rooftop to rooftop, he pretty much actually Deadpool's guns in this one, they ain't no regular guns. They some super powered guns because his father was a scientist, and in this one we're gonna make Deku, let's just say the scientist stuff kind of runs in the family. So he knows how to make some stuff. Even though Deadpool can't really do that, he just steals that shit. But it's just alternative. He's trying to be a hero in this one. So Deku would be running up with this gun. It was like, that's not gonna work. And how does he even have a gun? And he pretty much just headshots that shit. That shit shrivel up. Bro, it literally, like once it hits, it gets smaller. It's basically, that's what the gun does. And they're like, God damn, okay, he did that. And he just jumps off another building, and he basically shoots at Uraraka, but he doesn't obviously hit her. He hits the rocks, and they shrivel up, and they get small. So Uraraka will be able to move, and she would get up, and she would thank him. And that's when he would pull up his mask and say, "No problem." And he would go off to get a couple more points before it ended. So in total, Deku would have 127 points. So Deku would have 60 points when he is about to save Uraraka, plus the 60 points from saving Uraraka. So that would be 120, and the two, he got two 2-pointers and one 3-pointer, so that would be 4. That would be 7. I can't count. So yeah, he would have 127 points in that. So he would get first place. And as he's going home, as he's walking home, he's still suited up. So when Uraraka comes to him, she's like, "Yeah, thank you for saving me again." And yeah, so that's when Deku, he pretty much dips, and he goes back home. and days later he would get the envelope from UA that he got in. So Deku would just teleport there with his teleport belt. If you ever played Deadpool the game, it's in there. It's always in the comics. So yeah, and it's too easy, man. So Deadpool would just be like, So he would pretty much teleport right in front of UA. They would just see a flash of light and Deku would appear. And he would just walk up in there and look for his class. Once he does find it, Aizawa's actually up because he's later. Because he's actually more late than that. So when Aizawa says you're late and Deku says, so what? You don't care, bro? I'm just here so I can get a license. You might as well just give it to me now. Like, I'm not even here for this, man. So, Deku pretty much go outside with the rest of the class for the ball throw and the rest of that. They would go for the ball throw, and since Deku can literally break the fourth law, go into limbo, change reality, I feel like he would get first place in all of this. Like, he can literally change the scores of other students. He can rewrite reality like it's Death Note or something. Bro, he can literally do that. So he would just give other people lower scores than him, and he would just get first place easy. So Todoroki mad, Bakugo mad, this random kid who don't care about nothing. Pretty much come up there, clap everybody cheeks, walk out of here like it's nothing. So yeah. So Bakugo pretty mad, and before Bakugo can even act out, what's his name? All Might. He would pretty much come. He says, I don't know what he would say to all of them, but he would pretty much tell them, well, we're gonna be doing hero versus villains. Aizawa gotta go to sleep. He tired. So yeah, it's my turn. Become teacher. Everybody like, yeah, it's All Might, and Deku's like, So as Deku is pretty much going along with the rest of the class, and up first, Deku, Uraraka, and Bakugo and Todoroki, because Ida is trash. So Deku would Uraraka would actually ask, what's the plan? And I don't know, I just feel like Deadpool would actually say something like this. Deadpool would be like, nah, there is no plan. The plan is to not have a plan. Because he's unpredictable. So if he can think of a plan, that means they can think of a plan. So he pretty much just says, yeah, that's it. And he pretty much touches Uraraka's shoulder and teleports her up to the 5th floor as Bakugo goes down to the first floor to get Deku. And since Bakugo is stuck up and he doesn't care about Uraraka at all, he just wouldn't pay attention. So Uraraka would be hiding behind pillars, and Bakugo and Deku have their little squaddle. So Bakugo is pretty much throwing explosions. And I'll say that he kind of took off his hero costume because he is really not trying to remake this bullshit if he gonna facing against 2 guys who have fire powers. Nope. Or 1 guy with a fire power, 1 guy with an explosion. So he ain't trying to get his clean, pristine Deadpool outfit all jacked up. So he pretty much come over here and he's like, nah, son. He don't even have his weapons with him. So he pretty much can body them hand-to-hand combat. And Bakugo, as he's pretty much being bodied by Deku, he's like, what is your quirk and why are you not using it? And Deku says, quirk, I can't die, and it's always on. And Bakugo's like, bro, I can't even say I'm gonna kill him no more. That's tough. They pretty much go on with the fight. Actually, it's barely a fight. literally, he cannot touch Deku. Like he's pretty much dodging every hit, and even if Bakugo came close, just a centimeter away from Deku, he can teleport. So he's pretty much laughing at him at this point, and Bakugo is getting tired out of his explosion. So he goes for a howitzer impact. As he does this, Bakugo, Deku would basically, pull that sword out of his asshole like you would do in the comics. And since it is a part of his quote-unquote quirk, so he can do it, and basically all it did is throw that explosion straight back at him. So if Bakugo being too tired to, dodge it, he would just take it right in the face and feel the damage. Deku would just poof the sword back where it came from, and he would pretty much teleport right up to Uraraka. And since Uraraka was behind the pillar, he would teleport right behind the pillar too. So he would see, him. He was like, this is gonna be easy. And Uraraka's like, how? And he says like this. So this, Deadpool's swords are fucking heavy. It's like Kirito's swords. No one else can pick it up but him. So he would basically pull out his sword, and let's say it's quiet. So he would pull out his sword, and he would tell Uraraka to make it quote unquote just use your quirk. Just use the quirk, okay? So yeah. We use the quirk and it still won't be floating just because how heavy it is. So Deku just made it a lot more faster. So as he would just throw it straight at Todoroki, and Todoroki sees it for the split second in his eye. He's like, "Nani? What the fuck?" And as he thinks he's about to die because his sword about to aim for his eye, he sees a flash of light, and you think he already dead, man. He didn't even have to feel the pain. And Deku pretty much teleported right there, took the sword, kicked Todoroki right in the face. So now he can't see. He got kicked in the face. So Uraraka would run up, take the bomb, and they would easily win. And I might be like, oh, who's the MVP? And Mom would be like, Deku. He didn't get hit not once during the Bakugo fight, and he literally did what Sasuke did. He's like, bro, he's too overpowered. And a couple of kids are saying that's not even a fair match. Deku versus them, he didn't even use his quirk. And he says, well, you're not paying attention. He said his quirk that he couldn't die, and he's always using it, so it's basically just always on. So he wouldn't even you would think that they would be stronger than him because of the quirk that he has, but Deadpool is fucking strong. Okay, I don't care if Batman can lift up 1 ton, which is 4,000 pounds. He should be able to lift up at least 2 to 3 tons. They both the same height. I don't care. I don't care, man. I don't care. So Deku and Uraraka, they would come back to the rest of the people watching their matches, and they would do regular school stuff after that. Leave, and 2 weeks later, they would be on that that stuff. So yeah, Aizawa would basically tell him about the USJ. They would pile up on the bus, and this is where he brings his suit. And let's just say only in some areas he was a vigilante. So let's just say in the area of the League of Villains, they know that he's a vigilante. So when they see Deadpool pull up with the class, they're like, we finna get clapped, aren't we? And Deadpool would just say, yes, we are, before they even come. And that's when the portal would come, be open, and they would see Deadpool. And they would say, we finna get clapped, aren't we? And Deadpool would be like, yeah, indeed, you finna get clapped. And Deadpool would pretty much run up with his knife. And like, as I was like, what the fuck is this kid doing? And he just throws the knife right past Shigaraki, and Shigaraki says, "Ha! You missed!" And Deku say, "I don't miss." As he teleports right behind Shigaraki, kicks him right in the ribs, and Shigaraki is away from him. And Deadpool would basically flip the knife, and it would go back into its holster. And he would pull out his sword. It would pretty much light up, just like it does in the anime. And he would be walking up to what's his name? Kirigiri, all slow, like looking like a goddamn villain. So Kirigiri's like, what the fuck? And he just tries to teleport Deku's arm away, and Deku would just teleport into teleportation. So he would pretty much go right next to Shigaraki as soon as he would open the portal to get out. So Deku would be slicing at Shigaraki. Pretty much Deku would slice that little neck piece on Shigaraki, pretty much stopping him, making him just miss that's uncontrollable. So now they can't teleport. So as Shigaraki is saying, cheater, cheater. I know he's good, but he can't be that good. So he would since Kirigiri muster all of his strength just to get the nomu out. And the nomu barely gets out. It gets out, but it was just so close for it dying or just getting cut in half. And Deku was like, okay. And as the nomu would go, I feel like the nomu, I'm gonna make the nomu bigger. Okay, I'm gonna make the nomu bigger. And as the nomu runs up at Deku, everybody's like, Deku, run! And as the nomu picks him up and rips him apart, literally, just like in Deadpool 2, I'll say that Deadpool's killing factor is a couple of seconds, because I want to make this fast. I'm not trying to make that whole little, he grows a baby limb in it. No, I'm not trying to do that, bro. So Deku would basically be like, it don't work that way, as he's still talking, while his bottom half is pretty much disassembled from his top half. Everybody's like, he really cannot die. He would crawl to his bottom half, and they would just instantly connect. He would pop in his hip. He was like, okay, we can try this again sometime later, but I'm gonna have to finish this. And he would pull out his sword, that special one that he pulls out his booty cheeks, and he'd be like, you finna get clapped. And then Sensei Shigaraki's already mad. He's like, nah, it got self regeneration, super regeneration, I would say, and shock absorption. So it's not gonna get clapped. You're gonna get clapped. So and Deku would say, regeneration. Nice. Just a sword for the job too. Well, I guess you didn't know that there's swords that can be made to kill made to be killed things with regeneration. Shigaraki's like, Nani? Cheater. As Shigaraki's nomu would get bopped. Deku would just throw the sword straight at nomu.
He would throw it right past the nomu, and yeah. And he would just teleport right behind it and split it straight in half. And Shigaraki instantly goes to Kirigiri and tries to piece together his neck piece so he can go and use a teleportation. And Deku, as All Might comes, Shigaraki is in the worst spot of all time. But of course, they're gonna escape, even though
logically they actually wouldn't escape, but they're gonna escape because you know how it would be. They're the main villains, so they have to come and lose, then go back and come again and lose. So as they leave, he doesn't really know where they're teleporting, so he can't really teleport there. So yeah, he took care of everything by himself because he's just that good. And Aizawa's still all fucked up. So is 13, and All Might finally comes looking like a fucking failure because he had this child carry his whole job on his back. So as All Might is like I'm here. Where's the villains? And he's like, yeah, I took him. I dealt with him. As he's like, really? Damn. And Deku is pretty much like, yeah, it just be like that sometimes. So yeah, Deku is like, yeah, I dealt with him, but Aizawa and 13 are like really really badly hurt, and Alma's like, yeah, we should get him and get him to recovery girl. So yeah, that's what they bring Aizawa and 13. They would get 2 weeks off just to recover from the psychological damage of Deadpool doing that work, and they couldn't do shit. So so once they do come back, Deadpool's getting praise, or he's getting praise that he's just that good. And that's when they tell him about the sports festival. And days later, they would start it. This all start off with the race. Deku couldn't just teleport there, so he would just instantly get first place. And for the cavalry battle, he would have to have Uraraka, Tokiyami, and he would try to ask Ida, but Ida, actually, he wouldn't actually try to ask Ida because Deku don't like Ida. But he would just get Mei Hatame there. So he would just get those three, and he would just wouldn't get his headband taken because don't make the guy that can't die angry. The guy that runs around with swords and guns who cut a nomu in half, which had 2 quirks, and that was bigger than All Might, that was supposed to be able to kill All Might, and this kid just killed him easy. Like, come on, like this is not it. So yeah, he's pretty much doesn't get his headband took, so he's all fine and dandy there. And now for the 1v1s, Shinto's like, oh yeah, you will know how it be to have a useless quirk or be quirkless, and Deku would just be like, I don't really care, and just he would just teleport right to him and just push him out the ring. And Shinto would be mad. Who else would be mad? But the crowd would get a little hype. So other matches would go pretty similar, pretty much the same. And Deku versus Todoroki. It would pretty much go like this. Deku and Todoroki would both stand up on the stadium. Todoroki would be using ice all over the place, and Deku would be asking why isn't he using his fire, and Todoroki said it was none of your business, and Deadpool would say, okay, and that's when he would bring out his Omegalon sword. Yeah, the sword that I don't have a name for it because I already forgot the name. So he would bring out that ultimate sword, and he would just chop straight through all the ice. It would make Todoroki angry. He started using his fire. Todoroki like, damn, I use my fire. So he calmed himself down, and during this calming downness, Deku would teleport and have this sword straight at his neck, shining and shit. He's like, you know what I did to this nomu? You know what I did to that nomu with this sword? There's no regeneration here. You can't get healed by recovery girl if you get hit with this. So just walk out the match. And Todoroki's like, no. And he would just move it 1 inch closer very fast, and Todoroki would just walk out the match. He would just walk out, and
Deku would pretty much be like, yep, that's what I thought. And next up is Bakugo versus Bakugo versus Deku. And Bakugo would be coming down there, and he would just explode himself like he's flying or something. And he would come down there. He would pretty much say, "I'm gonna beat you. You're a loser." And Deku would say, "Oh, he says, okay, when you're written to be number 2, okay, you already know I'm gonna become number 1 hero." And Deku would say this, and Bakugo would get pretty mad, and that's when Midnight would start the match. Deku and Bakugo would do some hand-to-hand combat. Well, Deku would do hand-to-hand combat. Bakugo, he would cheat and try to use the explosions and still get no hits on him. Bakugo would get really frustrated and start using bigger explosions. The bigger the explosion, the more it breaks his arm. His arm is starting to splint and strain, and eventually they would break. So now he has nowhere to use his explosions. So Deku will pull out his trump card, which is obviously the words. He gonna be like, yeah, you don't got no arms, just give up, you're trash, come on, kid. And Bakugo would still try to be using his explosion from outside of his arms instead of just using it with his hands. And it wouldn't work too well because he doesn't have any training with it. And using explosions that's not in your hands, what if it goes anywhere, bro? Like, so he's pretty much like, if he tries to use explosions all over his body where sweat would be, he would probably die. So yeah, Deku pretty much says, you can't really use your quirk that much unless you want to just explode the rest of your body. And Deku is like that, and Bakugo, and it's like, nah, I can still go on. And Midnight is pretty much like, I don't think he can go on for much, so I guess Bakugo is disqualified. Azuka Midoriya wins, and Bakugo's angry, and this is where I'm gonna leave it off. Wait, don't click off the video yet. So, I had to go talk about something. I'm doing a couple of what ifs. Any what ifs that I haven't continued, I'm gonna be continuing them. And yeah, I had to say I was doing some stuff. That's why this video took so long. So yeah, bye.